Hello YouTube, Shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Sunday. You know what that means? It's time for some pay-per-view wrestling. We are pretty much shy of about a little over a month and a half removed before WrestleMania. So that means we have one more pay-per-view before the big show, FASTLANE. And this is after this one, we will finally get some idea of what the card is going to look like for WrestleMania. We know who the champion is, but who will he face? We're going to find out tonight. I got my notes. Yeah. So anyway, we start the show off with the pre-show with Kalisto versus Alberto Del Rio, United States title match, 2 out of 3 falls. Now, I'm not going to bitch on this one. This was a good match. The only downside is that it's on the pre-show. Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio have been putting on some very good matches in their feud for the United States title. Putting this on the pre-show, especially a 2 out of 3 falls match, does this one a very big disservice. And considering what else is on this card, they could have cut some shit out to make room for this match. It's kind of sad that Cena busted his ass last year to make the United States title feel important again, and now it's relegated to the pre-show. I'm not saying this match was bad, but it could have been great. It could have been one of the best matches of the night if they gave it the time it needed. This match should have gotten a lot more time than it actually got, but it's the pre-show, and there's only so much time you can have on a pre-show, especially with a 2 out of 3 falls match. So, although Mauro did call it, my boy Mauro called the match, so that was another plus. But essentially, they fucked this match over. Booking. Anyway, we get to the pay-per-view proper. First match, Team Waifu, as Griffon and I like to call it, is Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch versus Team Bad, being Naomi and Tamina Snuka. Now, rear view and those ridiculous kicks aside, this was a pretty damn good match. Very good, solid opener. All the women looked very credible in this match. Except for Naomi, because she keeps using that fucking rear view, and I hate the rear view. The rear view can kiss my ass. But anyway, this was a very good matchup. The right team won, Becky and Sasha Banks. Yay. Next up, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, United Intercontinental title on the line. Now, this one didn't have as much build as, well, anything else on this card, but damn it if it doesn't one of, if not the best match of the night. It is in close contention for being match of the night, with another match that I will get to shortly. This was an epic match that made the Intercontinental title feel great. This was in Cleveland, which is Dolph Ziggler's hometown, and Kevin Owens once again proves why he's Kevin friggin' Owens by being a magnificent bastard. A nice back and forth matchup with some impressive super kicks. But of course, Kevin Owens retains because he's Kevin friggin' Owens. Yeah. Next up, the Wyatt family, primarily Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, and Braun Babyface Strowman, versus Ryback, Kane, and the Big Show. Now, there were some pretty good spots in this match, particularly from Ryback, who showed more cardio than he's ever shown before, and also improved his arsenal a bit. But seriously, this should have been bumped to the pre-show. I didn't care for this match. There was nothing on the line for this match, and this match really made no one look good. It was decent enough. It just wasn't necessary. The Wyatts lose this one. Yeah. This is once again WWE cutting the legs out from the Wyatt family, because before they were considered a threat, like the big threat of the WWE. But losing to a made-up team of of 2 guys who are borderline retiring and a guy who is severely limited in the ring, although he has improved, undercuts their lethality. Decent match overall. Next up, Brie Bella versus Charlotte Flair, Divas title. Now, I know I've been critical of the Bella Twins for a good long while, and I know that, Brie comes in this, even though they only had like 2 weeks to build up the match for this, but they were able to build it up for what it was, considering what's been going on behind the scenes, what with Nikki undergoing major neck surgery that could possibly end her career, and her husband, and Brie's husband, Daniel Bryan, as everyone knows, forced to retire because of injury. So she was coming in this with a lot of baggage on her plate, and she even wore Daniel Bryan's kick guards that he wore the night that he won the world title at WrestleMania. Nice. This was a pretty good match. There were some big botches in this, like that botched crucifix into a pin from Brie. But other than that, this was a very, very solid matchup. And surprisingly, no interference from Ric Flair at all. I mean, sure, he got crunk outside the ring, but his daughter won this shit clean. This is what I'm talking about. Rick tends to just to leave, just go. I love you, Rick, but you need to go. Go. You're fucking with your daughter. So anyway, Charlotte, of course, wins. Which was more than likely set up for Charlotte versus Sasha Banks at Mania. That better be what's going to happen in WWE. Alright, next up, the other contender for match of the night. Y2J, Chris Jericho versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, the rubber match. And this was a fantastic fucking matchup. We saw some shit from both of these guys we'd never seen before in their previous 2 bouts. It was a nice back and forth matchup. It was everything that you would want in a great, great wrestling match between 2 of the all-time greats. Between a bona fide legend and arguably the best wrestler in the world. And of course, AJ won because Chris Jericho puts people over like gangbusters. So, yeah, great segment. Next up, surprisingly, we have a talking segment with the Cutting Edge Peep Show, starring Edge and Christian. And I gotta say, it's great to hear hear Edge's theme song again. It brings a tear to my eye. And of course, they had Tony Chimmel call out Edge because no one introduces Edge better than Tony Chimmel. Because Edge is the rated R superstar. But anyway, their guests are the New Day. There was some very... normally, I would not call one of these segments a waste of time, but considering the amount of mic skills and just genuine charisma and hilarity that was in the ring, I could give this one a pass because I was smiling the whole way through. I love the New Day. I love Edge and Christian. They got a new show coming out tonight. You better watch it. I know I will. And they just work so well together. And then all of a sudden it turns to talking about the League of Nations. Then the League of Nations comes out. There's a stare down. And then it seems like the New Day and Edge and Christian leave the ring. And there's some shenanigans and hilarity outside. Now, normally I would say a segment like this should have been cut out, but I can forgive it because I like everybody involved. And speaking of segments that should have been cut out, Curtis Axel, representing the Social Outcast, takes on R-Truth. This was a short match. They were more building up for the Golden Truth, which was the attempted team of R-Truth and Goldust. And Curtis Axel actually picks up the win with a little unintentional assist from Goldust. This should have been on the pre-show. Really, this was boring. Really, really, really boring. Yeah. And finally, the main event. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Winner goes to WrestleMania to face off against the Admiral for the World Heavyweight title. This was an exciting matchup, to say the least. The first part of the match had Brock Lesnar doing what Brock Lesnar does best, maiming and injuring anyone who gets in his way. He absolutely went apeshit on both Roman and Dean. Dean looked even more badass than this, considering that he pretty much slapped Brock Lesnar in the face and got the crap beaten out of him, but he just kept coming back. Eventually, the two brothers team up and just beat the crap out of Brock and put him through 2 tables and buried him on the junk, which of course you know, if you know Brock Lesnar, that is nowhere near enough to stop him. You have to bury his ass at the center of the fucking earth if you want to impede his progress. And of course, we had Dean and Roman go back and forth. Of course, Roman, being not the most over guy in this match. The end comes when Brock locks in the Kimura on Roman Reigns, and it looks like Roman's going to power out of it until Dean comes in the ring with a chair. Keep in mind, triple threat rules, no disqualification, no count out, must be a winner. And lays them both out with chairs. He even takes Brock out with a chair. Then he eats a spear from Roman. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns wins, so we have our main event, Roman Reigns versus Triple H. And I'm not happy with this ending. I knew it was coming, but the smart money would have been to put to have Dean win this, because unfortunately the Roman Reigns experiment is a complete failure given how people reacted. They were hot for Dean. They were hot for Brock. They were not hot for Roman. Because when he won, he got booed out the ass. They should have gone with Dean. Dean is pretty much everything that Roman Reigns isn't. He's over with the crowd. He's good in the ring, great on the mic, has great charisma, and he can work. He works like gangbusters. Unfortunately, Vince has to have his way and have his big beefy guy, and yeah, this just kind of, it was a great match, but unfortunately the end just deflated for me. So that's FASTLANE. My thoughts? I'm hard pressed to call it great. I mean, not so hard to say it was bad. It was, parts of it were great, parts of it were shit. So, depending on what you watch, it's sort of in the middle. Like certain matches, like of course the Intercontinental title match, Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, that was great. AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho, that was great. But as for the downsides, Truth versus Axel, terrible. The 6-man tag could have been on the pre-show. The pre-show match suffered because it was on the pre-show, and the ending to the main event, ugh. So yeah, it was awesome, then suck. Awesome, suck. Awesome, suck. Awesome, suck. So I can't really, it's very picky. Like, there were certain segments that I loved, certain segments that I hated. So yeah, I'm in the middle of the road of it. So, those are my thoughts. You like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about this match? Or better yet, better question, what did you think was the match of the night? Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, or AJ versus Y2J? Leave it below. Get back to you. So you already know what to do to support the channel. Hit me up on Twitter. #CaptainLuffy. So, until next time, it's Shintigercurl, that dude with the straw hat, saying good night, and fuck you, Vince.